These warmer and longer days have been such a welcome sight after spending so much time indoors or bundling kids up, cleaning up snow off the floor, all while taking countless trips back and forth between our home here and our new home build. It has been so nice to be able to step outside without having to put on coveralls and a coat. The kids have been playing around in the creek quite a bit. It is definitely feeling like springtime around here. Springtime in the kitchen means using some fresh things as well as a ton of eggs. The hens are in high production right now because there's so much light. I don't have hens currently. Well, we actually do have a dozen hens, but they're not producing all the eggs we need, not even close. But my sister has a bunch, and so I'll get my eggs from her, which is why they have so many beautiful colors. I was just texting her the other day, asking her which hatchery she got her laying hens from, or her laying pullets from, because I am so ready to do that for the farm. Now, that's mentally ready. I'm not actually ready. And I was sitting there on the hatchery website wanting to place this huge order, bring together the flock that will give me a colorful basket of eggs like I did a few years ago. Actually, it's been way more than a few years ago on our last homestead. And then stop myself because I remembered that you are not ready for this. The house isn't finished being built. Yes, it's springtime, but it's not time to jump into the motion of the homestead like I so desperately want to do, and definitely thought that we would be able to do this year, this spring, when thinking about it last spring. But such is building, especially a new old house, that proves to be complicated at every step of the way. So for now, I will just continue to get my eggs from my sister and from the dozen laying hens that we brought from our last homestead. But I absolutely cannot wait until I can curate this beautiful flock that gives me a colorful basket of eggs consistently all through the springtime. The first thing that is on our breakfast menu for spring is breakfast burritos. I was inspired by my niece. She had us all over for brunch one day, and she had a big 9x13 dish of breakfast burritos that she had made the night before because she knew she was having a large group of people over. I love things that can potentially be made ahead of time so that if I have some time in the afternoon, maybe during nap time in the kitchen, I can think about the next day or the next couple of days. So today for these breakfast burritos, I am doing my whole wheat tortilla recipe, which is over on my blog, farmhouseonboone.com. I have some sausage from my sister's farm, fresh eggs that I scrambled with milk, fresh cheddar cheese, and I'm just making a simple breakfast burrito. Of course, it'd be delicious to add some more things like some herbs or some veggies, but I'm keeping these simple, easy for the kids to love, and of course, they devoured them.
What did you put? Mom, I didn't want to waste.
It is always important to me to cook from scratch and nourish my family the best I can, imperfect as that may be. But especially right now, I find it important that I continue to nourish myself with quality ingredients and nutrition because I am still postpartum with my 9th baby. So I have been nursing or pregnant for 18 years, which is demanding on my nutrition and my hormones. I want to say thank you to today's video sponsor, Nutrafol. Nutrafol is a clinically tested hair growth supplement that is OBGYN formulated for women in their first year postpartum. It multi-targets the root cause of thinning from within, things like stress, hormones, nutrition, metabolism, aging, and lifestyle factors all play a contributing role as to why hair just seems to want to come out in clumps postpartum, and Nutrafol targets all of that. 98% of women saw an improvement in their hairline after 4 months of taking Nutrafol, and 100% saw visibly thicker hair after 6 months. I started taking Nutrafol because as I age and going through multiple postpartums, I want my hair to stay thick. I've noticed in the last few years my hair starting to look less healthy, and I really think Nutrafol is helping to improve that. Right now, Nutrafol is offering Farmhouse on Boone viewers $50 off your first 3 months or $106 off for the first 6 months on all formulas. I will leave a link down in the description box below. Again, thank you so much Nutrafol for sponsoring today's video. The next thing on my spring breakfast menu is from my sourdough cookbook, Daily Sourdough. This is something that I don't make on a regular weekday, but it's nice to have a few things in my arsenal that are perfect for a Saturday morning or a Sunday morning. Now, I did long ferment these, so you can bring the dough together a day before. This helps to make the grains more digestible. So for that, I mix together the whole grain, the sourdough, the liquid parts of the recipe, like the honey, coconut oil, water, and egg, and then I will just bring this together with my hands and set it aside until tomorrow. Now, if you're not comfortable leaving an egg on the counter, then you can leave that out until the next day. Over the years, I've learned what I'm comfortable with in my kitchen. The next day, after the grains have been fermenting, I add in my baking powder, baking soda, and salt. Now, you may have noticed for this recipe that instead of doing all-purpose flour like the recipe called for, I just did equal parts of whole grain flour, equal as far as the grams go, so 560 grams of hard white wheat berries. I'm following the rest of the recipe exactly as it calls for in the book. Now, that's something that I get asked about all the time. How do you convert the recipes to whole grain? And it really couldn't be simpler. For anything that requires stretching and folding or a little bit of kneading, like this recipe, because you're going to be rolling it out, it benefits from being stretchy. I use hard white wheat. For anything like cookies, biscuits that don't need that kind of like stretching, I will use soft white wheat. I just do gram for gram, except for in the case of my sourdough bowl, I think it does benefit from having a little bit of all-purpose flour. Other than that, that's how I do it, and it's really so simple. I'm planning a blog post where I just kind of spell this all out, but truly it really is just that simple. It's a 1-for-1 conversion, gram for gram, and I find that most things just work excellent that way. It doesn't really need a whole lot of special attention. These sticky buns from the book are very, very similar to cinnamon rolls, except for that you create a mixture of pecans and honey and butter and sugar and put it in the bottom of the pan before adding in the cinnamon rolls. It creates a delicious sticky topping. They are absolutely best when they are fresh from the pan. These are a huge hit in my family. Now, to make it a complete breakfast, we either serve it with a tall glass of raw milk or some eggs. We can never sustain ourselves strictly on like cinnamon rolls or a sweet breakfast, but it does help that these are made with 100% whole grain. Another thing that we've been loving for our springtime breakfast menu are sourdough crumpets. Now again, I am doing 100% whole grain. So for this one, I'm doing 280 grams of soft white wheat. This recipe is over on Farmhouse on Boone. I followed it exactly as is, except for, once again, that I did whole grain. Now I also am long fermenting these for the health benefits. So I'll mix the batter together and then revisit it tomorrow. Crumpets are really pretty similar to English muffins, except for instead of shaping them, you have a more liquidy batter that you put in crumpet rings. Now, traditionally, you are not supposed to flip them. You'll put them in the crumpet rings and allow them to cook until they're bubbly on top. So, kind of slow and low is what I prefer to do for crumpets, but I like that I can turn them down, allow them to cook. They don't take much fussing, they're long fermented, and the kids, of course, love them when they're slathered in butter and jam. They're a complete breakfast served alongside eggs or sausage or with a glass of milk. They are always a hit in our family. Now, you do need to have crumpet rings in order to make these, but we like to keep them on hand because it's such an easy, long fermented breakfast. I will leave the link to the recipe in the description box below. Today I am skimming some cream off of the top of these jars of fresh milk. The dairy where we get our milk from doesn't have the most cream. So she doesn't actually milk Jersey, she milks Holsteins. So there's less cream. So usually when I'm trying to get cream for something like whipped cream, I get out several jars. I'm thankful for the milk source that we have. Today, I am making some crepes. This always makes it onto our breakfast menu just because it uses up so many eggs, so especially perfect for springtime. And it comes together with basic things that I always have on hand. So milk, salt, eggs, sourdough starter, butter. It's really so simple, and your kids will especially love it if you make the cream cheese topping. Of course, you don't have to. You can just slather it with some butter and syrup, but I do often have cream and cream cheese on hand, so it's pretty easy for me to bring together the topping, and they love it if you can roll it up with the topping inside. Sometimes I like to put it on half of the crepes like I'm going to do today and fold them up. I always top them with some kind of fruit. Right now what I have is a bunch of frozen berries, but they're perfect in the summertime when those berries are fresh. The way that I like to make crepes is I get 2 cast iron skillets going. You have to get them at that perfect temperature. Sometimes it takes me a bit to get there, but once I'm in the groove, I can really start turning out the crepes. You don't want it too hot, but you also don't want it too cool or they will stick. The goal is to get these super thin crepes. So what I do is I pour the batter on, and if some is pooling, if it doesn't instantly cook when it hits the skillet, I will pour it back off, and then I rotate my skillet so that it fills the entire thing. I want this super thin layer, and then you do not want to turn them until they are cooked all the way through. And a lot of times I don't even turn them at all. Once they're cooked through, they're so thin that they're cooked on both sides. I just plop them out of the skillet onto the plate, repeat, repeat, repeat until the batter is all through. I usually will make a dozen eggs. My recipe calls for 8, but I will 1.5 times this recipe. If I'm not making the filling, I need quite a few more eggs. But if I'm making the filling, that's typically right now about what my children eat. Now, I do have 9 children, but a lot of them are very small. We have 4 children, 6 and under, so they're not eating a ton. And usually Luke and I will have a big smoothie in the morning. So when I'm making crepes, that is typically what will work for our family. But of course, you can scale the recipe up or down as needed for your family. We do tend to stretch it with the filling and the fruit. The next thing that is on my springtime breakfast menu is something that I forgot about for a lot of years, but I used to have it in the regular rotation for so many years, and that is a baked oatmeal. I appreciate the texture, and a lot of my kids do too, of a baked oatmeal over a regular pot of oatmeal. Now, I am still making the eggy oatmeal that I shared about several years ago. So if you're not familiar, I cut the oatmeal with a lot of eggs to get rid of eggs and add some protein. In this case, though, I am soaking this oatmeal. So that means that I'm doing all the liquid parts of the recipe with yogurt and then allowing it to sit at room temperature overnight. Something sour like yogurt or kefir soaks with the oatmeal and helps it to become more digestible, so easier for your body to take in all of that good nutrition. None of the nutrients are blocked by anti-nutrients, which are in grains. This is something I used to do all the time, and I just got out of the habit of it. But when making a baked oatmeal, I love getting that first step underway the day before. So then the next day, all you have to do is add the rest of the ingredients, which are just a few things, spread it into a pan, bake it, and it's very hands off. You really feel like, one, the decision is made. You know what you're making the next day for breakfast, so that takes a lot of the guesswork out. But two, you already have it about halfway completed. Plus, it's more digestible and healthier for your family. Today, I am serving this baked oatmeal with some sausage patties and fresh fruit and raw milk. This will definitely be in the regular rotation all through the springtime. Well, I hope you're enjoying spring in your own home and in your own kitchen. And I hope I've given you some ideas on some breakfast foods to enjoy this season.